that day, I went over to hang out with my friend, Jake, and we were going to hang out with someone that we didn't really hang out with that much. It just so happened we hung out with him, you know? And we decided to go on a ride somewhere. When I was driving, he ran a stop sign. I don't really remember if he was not looking or what, you know? But he ran a stop sign, we got T-boned. Our car flipped into a cornfield. And I was in the back seat, wasn't wearing a seatbelt. I went out the back window. And the car that hit us actually called 911. But an off-duty paramedic got the call on his scanner, so he came to the accident first. And he was off duty. And then they called the care flight, and they came. But the off-duty paramedic got me breathing again and everything, because I wasn't breathing for a while. I had a critical brain injury, my brain swelled, so they had to cut a piece of my skull out so it could have room to grow, you know? And I had a broken wrist, broken ribs.
On the way down to the hospital, at that point we didn't know if Lindsey had survived the accident or not. But I just remember that I prayed with Rick on the way down to the hospital. And I don't remember the exact prayer, but I know that we had just prayed that God would just take over the whole situation. And Rick and I have talked since that day, and we have no doubt that God just literally took over. The longest night for me would be the night that it started out like the nurses had told everybody in the family to go on home. They didn't anticipate that it would be much happening that night. It appeared that Lindsey was stable for the time being, and so everyone had left, and it was just me, and Lori Rose was there as well. And things started to get bad for Lindsey very quickly. The pressure in her brain started to get higher and higher, and we just prayed a lot through the evening, and things continued to get worse, and ended up that that's the night that Lindsey had emergency brain surgery. So that was probably the toughest night. That was the most critical night of Lindsey's accident. Was that
spiritually falling at Jesus' feet, just begging for mercy, and just begging, just have mercy and spare her life. Just basically in prayer, just trusting God completely with it, and that's all we had. That's what we depended on.
In the morning, and they decided to go ahead and transfer her from ICU to the trauma floor, and it was just night and day. It was going from complete calm to complete chaos, and there was just a lot going on, and I don't think I've ever felt that scared and lonely in my life. Yeah, that was rough.
I was literally on the floor, crying out to God. I would say that's, for me, that would be it.
But I think that, Rick and I have talked, that was probably something initially that gave us hope right off the bat, was the fact that the care flight nurse introduced herself, you know, said, I'm a Christian. I prayed over Lindsey as I worked on her. She also told us that she believed in miracles. So we believe that God definitely placed her in our path, you know, for a reason. That gave us hope immediately.
Knowing that God didn't take her right away gave us hope. And then she was stable at the hospital, we had hope. And then the care flight nurse saying, this is the timing of everything, and the people that were put in a situation that we knew that God had his hand in it, just by somebody being right there to work on her to get her breathing again, and the care flight nurse being our neighbor.
Yeah, it's kind
praying
of like, what
over.
are the chances the care flight nurse that we have is our neighbor, and she's a Christian, you know? What are the chances of that? And that the paramedics, the off-duty paramedic, he just happened to be in the area, off-duty, you know? And he got to me first and got me breathing really quickly. So if it wasn't for that, who knows?
I think that's what gave me hope, just knowing that God, I could tell God had his hand in it right off the bat. That he didn't just, because she could have just died instantly and that'd have been it. But just seeing that, the people that were there and the timing of everything, I just knew God had his hand in it. And that's what gave me hope.